I'm Jason, and this is Roy, and we're with Beers in Paradise.
And we're here at Bootlegger's Brewery, Fullerton, California.
Let's go check it out.
Yeah.
My name's Aaron Barkenhagen. I'm the owner of Bootlegger's Brewery.
I'm Trisha. I'm Aaron's wife. So my role, it says vice president, but it's a little formal. I don't really consider myself as that. I basically do just the odds and ends since it is a family business and started small. I do everything. I don't bottle as much, but I bottle. I help, bookkeeping, a lot of that, running errands, planning a lot of the events, the food trucks. I work the tasting room. Just odds and ends of everything.
It's tough to come up with a good name that's representative of your concept as a company. But our concept really was to make fresh, locally produced beer and distribute it to places local around us. We felt Bootleggers really represented that well, because that's essentially what the bootleggers during Prohibition did. They produced their product local and distributed it local. Bootleggers basically started in my garage. I homebrewed for 10 years before I even thought about opening a brewery. Essentially, I was brewing every weekend for a year and a half before I actually got the brewery open. The brewery was really just an extension of my homebrewing.
Bootleggers started with Aaron going to college at Cal State Fullerton, trying to get his bachelor's in business with an entrepreneurship emphasis. While he was there, he saw the entrepreneurship program as a great way to start a startup business. Instead of working on someone else's, he had a great idea to start his own business. So he kind of rolled with it, and I thought I was skeptical in the beginning because I was like, "What are you thinking?" But now we're here.
At Bootleggers, we have probably 3 people that do most of the brewing. And besides that, we have about 4 or 5 of us that do about everything else. We do everything from bottling and labeling, packaging the beers, delivering them, to kegging the beers. We work the tasting room, so we get to bartend. Anything from going across town and wrecking places and taking cold storages apart and setting them up at our new storage units. We're basically just handymen for the brewery. We do everything. So we're all pretty much prospective brewers in the future, and we're just trying to get our feet in the door. And you could say we're understaffed, but we just like to work 100 miles an hour all the time. So it's pretty fun. I love it.
Right now we have our winter ale out, and that's a mint chocolate porter. So we basically take like a nice chocolatey porter and add fresh mint into it.
This is the winter seasonal mint chocolate porter. We bottled our big fermenter of it today, and so we had a couple first off the batch that we had to test out to make sure they're all right when we were bottling them, make sure they're clean. So these end up sitting around here until we dispose of them later. So cheers.
Well, I'm here at Bootlegger's Brewery because it's Dave Anderson's birthday and he invited us all down. I'm drinking the mint chocolate porter, just the perfect amount of mint and chocolate in it. It's just awesome.
Well, Knuckle sandwich, really has a really strong, distinct aroma to it, and it's one of those beers that you can smell from about 10 feet away, and I think your sense of smell is so tied into your sense of taste that really plays into making something memorable for people. But we dry hop that beer with the equivalent of an ounce per gallon. So it's a lot of hops.
It's hard to explain. It's a double IPA. You'd never know it's 10%. It's extremely hoppy, but it's not bitter at all. It's more almost like a juicy hop. Uses a lot of nugget, but it's almost like a smelly kind of floral taste to it. It's very unique. I think I've had one other beer like it before. Very good. Definitely on top of my list.
My favorite's probably Knuckle Sandwich. That's our 10% double IPA. It's not a beer that I would drink every day, but it is definitely a treat.
We were kegging off one of these 40-barrel fermenters full of Knuckle Sandwich, and so we posted on Facebook. We said, hey, growler fills, everything else, this whole week we're going to have it. And Thursday night we opened up the tasting room and we went through everything. And the next night we blew through a couple more kegs, went through a couple more kegs, and this night, Sunday night rolls around, people are waiting by the front door with their growlers to fill it up. And we open up the doors and we're like, sorry, we're all out. And they're seriously like, what? It said on Facebook you would have it here today. She sees the name on the back of my shirt and she goes, Bootleggers, you guys have that Knuckle Sandwich? Yeah, we have it. It's right here. And she follows me into the store and buys 3 cases of it. And she's like, you can't find this stuff anywhere. And it literally sometimes doesn't even make it to the liquor store. It's they check it in and it goes out the door. People, it's crazy. You get attacked on the street for it.
That's awesome.
We try to. There's actually a waiting list, but for the first time a few weeks ago, we decided to brew it on our 30-barrel system, which we never do. So now we have, I think, 60 barrels, which is 120 full-size kegs of it. Should be ready within the next month.
So I have our Alembic number 2, which has been aged for a year in oak barrel. And it's a sour beer. And then our Old World Hefeweizen, which is a yeasty beer that has vanilla and banana notes to it. This one actually, some of its color comes from the yeast, and the cloudy yeast in suspension gives it a little bit of a lighter color. And the sourness in a lambic is actually produced from different types of acid. So if you think of lemons and limes have citric acid in it, and that's what gives that sourness on your tongue. These have different types of acids that are created from the bacteria that re-ferment in the barrels. So things like lactic acid, acetic acid, there's a bunch of different types of acid that is created, and it imparts different sourness. Actually, every barrel that we age sours in tastes a little bit different, even if you start with the same exact beer. Our ingredients we get through quite a few different sources. There's a couple of big brokers that we use for our malt and our hops. But beyond that, we do try to source local ingredients. For instance, in our Black Phoenix, we use coffee from Keen Coffee in Newport Beach. And they custom roast it for us, and we get it fresh within days of it being roasted. So I think that really adds to the flavor of the beer and creates something special. we're producing for the local market. We don't plan on ever distributing, to the East Coast, at least not from this brewery. It's just we want people to support a local product and be proud of what's being produced locally. I'd recommend coming down to try our beer, because it's locally produced, it's fresh, and it's all made by hand and produced by people that love beer.
This is Beers in Paradise here at Bootlegger's Brewery in Fullerton, California. Cheers. Good stuff.
Ever since by the elevator doors, it's been 37 years.